Kiss or slap? Я только что отстрелили, что это было?
How much money does a guy need to make in order to be with you, long term?
250,000 a year, minimum.
Okay, 250,000 a year. What do you bring to the table?
A lot of things. that
Name
you
'em,
don't
name
even
'em,
know
name 'em.
about. This is one of them.
So that's all you got?
I'm out of here. I gotta get
You
McDonald's.
can get that from any girl though.
No, I got a lot more than that, but I
You
don't
can
have
get a girl
time.
that doesn't need 250.
A girl that doesn't need 250?
Get the same thing, yes.
I need my McDonald's.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
I'm just so fucking sick and tired. Of not having a fat ass. Is that?
I'm a 40-year-old dermatologist, and this filter is an accurate depiction of aging. You notice as time goes on that the folds underneath the eyes become deeper, the nasolabial folds become deeper, there's discoloration.
Girls who cheat will always say these things. Have you ever been cheated on? Wouldn't it have been nice if you saw it coming? The good news is women who cheat will often give themselves away with passive little clues. So watch out for these signs. Number 1, she often says, I wouldn't consider that cheating, I guess. If she has some pretty thin lines drawn in the sand, be sure that she's going to rationalize any of her behaviors that she's going to engage in when you're not around. Number 2, my day was fine. Suddenly, you no longer talk and she pushes you away when you ask how she's doing. She likely doesn't want to share it with you because she could be sharing it with someone else already.
You are already falling in love with me.
I'm gonna make you wish you were dead. Poor guy.
Hey, babe.
Yeah,
Have you ever tried Five Guys?
at the same time or at different times?
I'm talking about the freaking food, woman!
And that's what today's video is about, why you shouldn't marry a 304, and unfortunately, most blue-pilled guys make this fatal mistake and find out the hard way. The Five Guys joke has a lot of truth to it when it comes to modern women. You know, females who went to college and slept around, but even before that lost their virginity in their teens. That's the average female experience in today's feminist West. And so, the title of the post on Reddit is, I cheated on my husband when I was young and selfish, I grew up and fell in love with him for real. Always blaming it on something else like age. She's acting like a toddler who didn't know the difference from right and wrong. She was a full-grown adult. But it brings up another famous saying, which says, women grow old but they never grow up. This happens when they lose their virginity before 18, like in middle school, which stunts their mental growth, causing them to be a middle schooler stuck in an adult's body. And they usually don't find mature until they hit the wall and they have to mature out of necessity to find a man. When they stop getting attention from men, especially the top 10% men, then they finally also start to value the other qualities in men besides muscle, tats, and a square jaw. Let's get balls deep into the post. It starts off, I have been lurking around these subs for a long time and finally decided to create an account to share my story. I got married at 23 to a man that was marriage material. He was cute, smart, funny, and kind. He was very mature for his age and had just started a really good career. He was a catch, so even at 23, I married him because I thought I loved him. So it sounds like she married him because of what he had to offer. He's unfortunately the beta bucks of the equation, and she did it so young that it fooled him. Usually, women at the age of 30 will settle for a guy they're not attracted to because he provides her a softer life. Because by then, the strong and independent boss lady career lifestyle ain't fun anymore and they don't want to do that for 50 more years. And apparently, she didn't love him because she committed the biggest relationship sin ever.
A woman's dual mating strategy explained as if you're a 5th grader. Women care a lot about their offspring and being able to bear healthy children. So what they're going to seek after are the most favorable genetics in order for that to happen. Usually this guy is very handsome, very tall, very strong, and has good genetics himself so that when they breed children, it's a genetically superior child. However, at the same time, a lot of women actually care about resources, the ability to provide, and living a comfortable lifestyle. So that means you gotta have money too. But the issue is, not every guy can have both. So what do? In their teenage years, early 20s, mid 20s, and sometimes late 20s, they'll have fun with the superior genetic guy who may or may not also give them a child. But point is, this guy doesn't necessarily provide the resources. However, he does provide the good genetics, and she'll try to have a kid with him. But his issue is that he doesn't have the ability to provide for whatever reason. So what does she do? She kind of goes away from him. This is more after she has had children and or in her late 20s to early 30s. She'll find a nice guy who can provide and protect and provide resources for her and her children who may be from the other guy. Also, I forgot to mention the genetically superior guy may or may not have given this woman a commitment or a relationship that she also strives for. Now the woman is in her 30s living her life with her provider, the resourceful guy who doesn't necessarily have the good genetics, but he's a good guy. He looks after her kids, he provides the resources, but deep down inside, she still craves for that genetically superior guy or the alpha guy she views. This dual mating strategy is called alpha fucks and beta bucks, or alpha smash, beta cash.
Fast forward 3 years, and we have a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old child, and I am going through some postpartum when I am invited to go out with a college friend that was back in town. All my friends were still single at the time, by the way. And that's a black flag, because they're gonna jeopardize her relationship just by having different lifestyles. If the woman you marry and have kids with also has friends who are married with kids, they're all going to be default, keeping each other faithful with mom activities, like baby showers, or kids' birthday parties, going to museums, play dates, youth football games, and so on. I'm not saying they can't find a way to cheat, but at least these mom activities that they do together will naturally keep them on the straight and narrow. So obviously, her single friends will put her in situations that will jeopardize her relationship, because they're living the single life, aka the HOE lifestyle.
I want to go on girls' night out. Translation, I want to dress provocatively, go outside, field my options while you sit at home like a dummy and not know that I'm still playing the field while you're faithful to me.
So to make a long story short, we went to a club, I met a guy, and had sex with him in his car. I felt horrible, but it also gave me a rush. Let's stop right there. That just proves it. And this is why these 304s can't be tamed, because sleeping around is like doing the hardest drugs. It's a massive dopamine hit. Even the possibility of getting banged out by going out gives them dopamine hits. This is the adventure they live for.
There's no good girls. The only difference between good girls and bad girls is the bad girls have been caught. The good girls haven't been caught yet. Men are most concerned with a woman's past, but the problem is there aren't any good girls today. Unless you're in an Amish village and you wife up one of these Amish girls where the community is well known and you've known her past. If you're out in a large, urban, coastal type of city with, many, many millions of people living there, you're not going to find the good girl. There are no ones. There's some good ones and there's some bad ones, but there are no ones. The good girls have some stories covering up what it is that's going on, so just understand that when you're getting out there. A lot of guys approach dating in the sexual marketplace going, I just want to find that one. I just want to find that good one. And that's the absolute wrong way to approach it. You need to look at women in the sexual marketplace today in the modern world after all these waves of feminism have changed the sexual marketplace for what it truly is.
Continuing. I was a party girl before I met my husband, and this whole night brought back a lot of memories of fun times that I had been missing. And that's why you can't turn an HOE into a housewife, because she's not yours. It's just your turn. Forever, she'll belong to the streets. She can't be tamed. She's just feral. Her pair bonding with you is non-existent, and this just proves it. The wife or girlfriend lifestyle is like prison to her. And another thing you have to make note of, obviously women will never tell you their real body count, but they'll leave clues where you can intelligently guess it. But that is if you're red pill aware, and this is one of them. An easy layup for any red pill aware man. Unfortunately, her husband isn't, and he learned the hard way. If she used to party, she used to get banged out, like blackout drunk, not remembering that Chatter Tyrone and his friends all took turns piping her down or filling her holes at once. Partying equals 304 lifestyle. And because she's young, this is during college at frat parties. So college is also HOE university to modern women. And if this ain't proof that you shouldn't marry modern women in the feminist West, I don't know what is.
People your age, let's say between 18 and 20.
Yeah.
What would you say is like for a girl? Maybe you know some girls, what would you say is like the average body count for that age range?
Especially with like college life, I
feel like at the beginning of college, most people have around like 6 or 7, I would say.
Really?
Most people that I know, at least.
What if I told you the average girl loses her virginity at 18?
Yeah,
I know people who have like 20.
Well, come on, we're in Santa Barbara.
This wouldn't be the last time I would cheat over the next year. I did it multiple times. There were a few more guys from clubs and a waiter that I used to flirt with. And of course, my husband eventually caught me. He was crushed and I begged and cried and pleaded. Again, I thought I loved him. No, this bedwench clearly didn't love him. Yeah, she is a super HOE. So sad that the dude paid full price for what a lot of guys got for free. Matter of fact, who's to say those kids are actually his? I wonder how the kids came to be. Usually young thoughts don't settle down out of the blue in their prime unless if they get suddenly pregnant. So did she all of a sudden get pregnant while screwing a bunch of men at once and picked this guy because he was the most financially stable out of all of them? That's how it usually goes for paternity fraud.
Don't want to date girls that have a past and they don't want to know about your sexual past, whatever. As a matter of fact, if every single one of you asked each of you how many men have you had sex with, you're going to be reluctant to tell me the answer. There's a reason for that, because women know deep down that their body count aligns a lot with their value from a relationship standpoint. If a woman has a high notch count, 1,000 dudes, whatever, the ability for her to lock down a guy in a serious relationship drops precipitously, right? Will we say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the equivalent on the male side is if a man doesn't have a high earning potential or he doesn't have confidence, it'd be the same thing. That's a turnoff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why men care so much about a woman's body count is because if a woman is promiscuous, you can't ensure paternity. Okay.
What do you mean?
What is every man's? Okay, what's your deepest, darkest fear as a woman? Let's go around the table real quick.
Oh my God. I don't know, getting sexually assaulted one day, God forbid.
Right. Yeah, by a weirdo, right? In a dark alley or whatever, getting kidnapped, right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Fair to say that's across the board?
I think I agree.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That's like a nightmare.
Yeah, getting trafficked. There's some masked men coming and kidnapping you, taking you off and doing things to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys want to know the male's equivalent? That deep fear that you guys have? Raising a child that we find out later on isn't ours.
Damn, son.
Okay? Yeah. So you feel that pain that you feel where you're getting taken advantage of and someone is doing things to you that you don't want, that's how men feel about raising a child that they find out isn't theirs. Okay? We get raped another way. That's why men don't want to deal with girls that are hoes. Because if you deal with a girl that's promiscuous and has a past and you have a child with this woman, there's a good chance that child might not be yours. And that is devastating to a man. So that is why a woman's past matters so much to men. It's just that we live in a society nowadays that shames men for holding women to standards.
But for that only one reason, though?
There's a bunch of other reasons as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
there's statistical
then it's not
proof.
shallow, then.
That's why you take paternity test.
That's why I take paternity. But here's the thing: you got to remember, we're hardwired from millennia of being human beings. We didn't have paternity tests and all these modern conventions, so we're still wired as if we were, back then in the day when we didn't have all these modern conventions to ensure paternity. So men still, right? Even though women make more money than ever before, and you guys are successful, you don't need men. You still want a guy that's taller than you, muscular, attractive, and all these other things. Why? Because women are hardwired to look for this in men. Men are hardwired to look for women that aren't hoes.
He took a day to think it over. He told me he didn't want a divorce because of the kids. He said that when he chose to have kids that he would always put their happiness over his own. I was a good mother, horrible wife, but a good mother. That is just sad. This is why men need the red pill, because they can avoid these impossible situations, being stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he leaves, for sure the kids will be affected negatively, like his daughter will be on a pole in the future, but if he stays, he's rewarding his 304 wife's behavior. If you ever wonder why I post 2 videos per day, it's because of situations like these, which can easily be avoided if men were more aware, like versed in womanese. He's a selfless father, and unfortunately, there's no correct answer to this situation. I mean, first, he could get a DNA test for both kids to make sure they're his. He could do that, but not secondly, which is to take the kids and leave her. The anti-family courts won't allow that, but that's the correct choice. It's just impossible in the gynocentric dictatorship. This is why she can cheat, because there's a massive safety net if he leaves, called divorce rob and child support slavery of 18 years, enforced by the anti-family courts.
2005, you had $1,700 left. That's $1,700 after you made, like $30 million on that tour.
Dog, we made more than that.
What the hell happened to the money?
Yeah, it's called a divorce. I got jumped on, man. Like, I had saved some millions, but before I split the assets, she took all of that out the bank. moved it.
But he wanted to make me aware of how things would be going forward. He said that I could not possibly love him because it's impossible to disrespect someone you love this much. He said I wasn't the person he thought I was, and if I wanted to stay for the kids and play house, then he would be okay with it. But the marriage as he knew it was over. I was so desperate to keep him in any way I agreed. No, she was so desperate to keep his relationship benefits and not to be labeled as an HOE. Matter of fact, he should have outed her to her family and friends that she's a bedwench. That's what she's scared of, the shame of the scarlet letter. That's the type of thing that families, even in today's feminist West, will do. Disown a daughter if she's a cheater. And so the whole feminist HOE movement is to just normalize women sleeping around and being bedwenches. It's to redefine their bad decisions by moving the goalposts so they can get away with those actions or continue doing them.
What have you come to reflect on about the psychology of slut shaming?
It's a way of validating poor decision making. So when we use the word you're slut shaming, what we're really saying is stop pointing out the flaws in my flawed behavior. Essentially, we need a society filled with guilt, shame, and regret. We need to be aware of these emotions. If we remove shame from our society and we call it fat shaming, slut shaming, essentially we find a way of normalizing what is abnormal behavior. And when we do that, we then become reckless. We need guilt, shame, and regret to help direct us into making proper decision making, responsible decision making, healthy decision making. So whenever you hear the word that's fat shaming and that's slut shaming, if the word before it is negative, then the concept is broken.
Fast forward 6 years and we were still married, raising our kids. I had been to a lot of therapy and had begun to hate the person that I was. I was a selfish narcissist that only cared about my own satisfaction. I also realized that at the time, I really didn't love my husband. I thought I did, but I really didn't. Nobody that truly loved someone could do what I did. That's all BS. Therapy cannot fix 304s. Once an HOE, always a garden tool.
If a girl you dated told you she cheated in previous relationship, would that change your perception of her? Yeah. I've been told worse though. So it's up to you if you want to take that information and, patterns don't change. I feel like most guys are like, oh, she'll never do that to me. I'm different. I'm special.
Now at 32, the kind of men I used to be into now repulsed me. My tastes had changed and I found myself falling in love with my husband, but for real this time.
Stop the cap.
She's making a virtue out of necessity. Translation, now she hit the wall and those guys aren't interested in her. They're on to younger thoughts, meaning she can cheat now if she tried to, so of course she's quote-unquote repulsed. She's a repulsive person to begin with.
Especially once our attention starts to go with the dreaded wall. Now, the wall is really the age between 27, 28, and like 35, roughly. Whenever the woman's looks start to kind of go, and she realizes she can't get the attention she used to get. And that's when you see chicks going real crazy, really insane. Yeah, just like absolutely nuts, because they realize they've had Britney Spears level of attention from the time they were 12 years old to now it's kind of starting to go.
Continuing. We had started having SEX again a year after I cheated, simply out of need for the both of us. I never cheated again and neither did he, so we would just have loveless, often dirty SEX when the mood struck. But over the past year, that SEX had become more passionate and loving. Her husband is a simp and a cuck. If he chose to stay with her for the kids, he should have lived a single lifestyle at least. She's a cum dumpster. No way I'd even kiss her again after finding out she was cheating. I'd tell her, but she can't see any other guy, nor she's going to get any intimacy from me, not even kiss. And if I find out she even flirts with another man, I'll shame her as an HOE cheater to her family and friends, where she'll be shamed for her life and maybe even disowned. And when the kids go off to college, I'll dump her for a foreign traditional woman. That's what I would do in that situation.
Most guys are plugged-in beta males. Most guys, when they get married, go through the process of betatization through 1,000 concessions where they agree and they stamp yes, yes, yes on everything that she does. And 5, 7, 10 years down the road, the guy that she thought was cool and the alpha dude that she had enthusiastic monkey sex with is now some dork that she can barely stand.
We both felt it and had a talk. We finally went to couples counseling and started dating. 2 years later, we renewed our vows. I'm 38 now and we've been married for 15 years and I can honestly say he is the love of my life. I wasn't ready for him when I met him. I was too young and selfish and still into cocky assholes. I would never dream of cheating on him now. Even light flirting from other men grosses me out. I grew up. I don't really have a moral to my story, so take from it what you will. Now, he's the love of her life after she hit the wall twice. He's the best option she has. Dude needs to bounce, because she clearly is only saying this because her husband is the only option she has.
Fellas, if your girl ever cheats on you, you don't take her back. You don't have her creep into your life after several months where she starts talking to you. Now she's going to convince you things are different. She's this angel now. She's been going to church 9 days a fucking week, asking God for forgiveness. No, she will do it again. She will step out on you again. But this time, she's going to be much better at hiding it. That's how it works. You will never find out. Not only will I lose respect for you if you take her back, she will lose respect for you. She will never respect you as a man. She knows you don't have a backbone, and you took her back after she violated you in the most degrading way possible. Once a woman gives herself up to another man, it is over, bro. It's done. She don't respect you. She never respected you. Move on, find another girl, and stop asking me this fucking question on Instagram.
Edit. I want to add that my husband did not forgive me for many years. We didn't go to couples counseling because he didn't want to reconcile. We basically broke up for about 5 or 6 years but still lived together. He should have stayed away from her in the first place. When she said she used to be a party girl, he should have not even smashed and dashed, just walked away from her. This is 95% of modern women, especially in the feminist West. Never commit to them, like marriage or having kids.
But I want to say, what % of women are virgins on their wedding day? Can we answer the question?
Probably about 25%.
25%? Okay. It's 5%. What % of women have been on birth control at some point in their life? 90%.
But what are the reasons why women are not on birth control?
Wait,
I've been on birth control before, but it wasn't because of sex.
Okay, fine. Which is all good and well until we start looking at the body count statistics, where after a woman has had 5 partners, her chance of a happy marriage drops to 20%. Okay, so, and the average woman has slept with more than 5 men. Okay, which, remember, historically, 100 years ago, 85% of women were virgins on their wedding nights. Now, what else does men get out of marriage? They get loyalty, but not today because half of women leave. Then we start to go into weight, where women are overweight. The average woman is 5'3", 170 pounds. These are just numbers, and yet we scream misogyny at me, but these are just numbers.
He stayed and devoted his life to the kids because he couldn't stand it if he didn't get to see them every day. Then over time, once I proved that I was a different person, he let me in slowly, but even that took a few years. What a bad ending. You don't have to be red pill to know cheating is a red line in a relationship. Let's see what the comments have to say. Top comment says, "What an interesting read. You're very, very fortunate things worked out the way they did. There are a million different ways this could have gone, and most of them would have been terrible. Your husband is a very good man. I hope things continue to get better for both of you." No, I don't think he's a good man. He's just a straight simp. But yes, she is lucky, because in other countries, these HOEs end up dead or missing. Even in the feminist West, women end up getting deleted for cheating. She's very lucky. She robbed a man of his best years. Finally, a red-pilled comment. Your husband sounds like a doormat. I feel sorry for him. I would have bounced your ass straight away. Exactly. I almost hate him as much as this Decepticon, to be honest, for being so weak and spineless and accepting this. And someone responds to the comment, "Yeah, I'm never sure how to take these posts, if they're even true at all. My wife would find her stuff on the lawn faster than the speed of light if that happened. Is this a great story about a respectable man and a woman who changed their ways? Or is it a story about an incredibly selfish person who got everything she wanted even after causing permanent damage to someone who thought she loved her? If this was a parent mistreating a kid, there would be no sympathy, but it's a wife using a husband, so I guess that's different? I don't know, but F that, I'd kick her ass out. This is a story about a certified HOE getting her way despite acting the worst. This is one big humble brag that she got away with the biggest relationship crime. It's no different than serial killers sending letters to the news about deleting people and taunting society with ransom letters littered with clues. This is a massive psychopathy in my opinion. She's a witch.
Turn it off.
Story proves you can't turn an HOE into a housewife. You'll cheat again. The very definition. Hopefully new people to the Red Pill and MGTOW see this video and can avoid this kind of train wreck. And someone responded to that comment, just wait until the midlife crisis or when the kids leave the house. From the sound of the post, a bout of depression is all it takes for OP to betray those who care about her. Maybe the husband will leave after the kids are out of the house or in high school. I'm going to end this by dreaming that maybe he'll ditch her and take all their money and become a passport bro and find the real love of his life. Put all the money in a trust or a secret foreign account, let her have to work to pay rent or be homeless at the age of 40 for the rest of her life. Then justice will be truly served when she faces the MGTOW reality. As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you'll get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video. Till next time.